Okay. We ready to start with a call to order? Roll call. Roll call. Go around the room. Linnea Madison from Lake Park Drive.
Kathy Peterson from Lark Street.
Dave Congeezer, stormwater lead for the city of Tumwater. Think about what I did for a minute. It's been a long day.
Patrick Soderberg, program manager.
Tom Sparks from the Barnes Lake condos.
And
Carissa
Carissa
from the
Private.
Barnes Lake.
Excellent. And then we have a few people excused.
Jody is excused and Dana.
Jody
both-
and Dana excused.
Yeah. They asked, they said.
I'll keep an eye on the waiting room too, see if there's anybody that shows up.
And Scott, maybe.
He's
No,
in-
no Scott. Scott's
He's in Maui.
excused.
You knew he was in Maui.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna try to make it via Zoom, but, you know, Hawaii time.
It can be, you lose track of time.
Yeah. As
So-
you should.
Lilani and Rusty, I think, are the only two that we think should be here.
Was this
Well,
the,
Hawaii was 3 hours difference until we fell back, and now they're only 2 hours difference. So they may think that we're an hour offset, still extra hour offset.
Could be.
Was this-
Smartphone, it'll just.
got to show?
Beg your pardon?
Was this the meeting that we needed Scott to show to go over stuff, or am I thinking?
It would definitely be helpful.
But we knew he was.
Okay. Yeah. It was like a hope, maybe if you could, right?
Right.
Exactly. Okay, the agenda review. Looking at the agenda from October 9th. Oh, the minutes. Agenda review for today.
Anybody want to add anything to the current agenda?
I did, I wanted to, get some clarity on which properties are in which neighborhoods.
I have the document open here. It's
Unbelievable.
a little, well. We may have to look at this in greater detail to determine where the cutoff lines are, but,
Should we add that
It's
to
not
the
just based on the
agenda?
street.
no. it's-
Well, that would have been
there's
easier.
polygons that were,
Yes,
Dealing with
it's
There's geometry
It is
involved.
very geometry involved.
I could try to navigate to this page I'm on, but,
I was just adding it to
Just,
the,
Let's add that.
yeah.
share screen and.
Under,
I'm
All right,
sharing my
but
screen
we're
right
just,
now.
we're not at that agenda.
So
I want to be responsible.
Yeah, we can, when we come to that, we can.
are we putting it under general business?
Sure.
Delineation of neighborhoods.
So so you just want to know where they are, or is
Yeah,
there
that's what
specific
I was-
properties?
What I was doing was adding an agenda.
So the neighborhood representation, your promotion, so yeah, we have representatives from each neighborhood, and we're trying to figure out where those neighborhoods begin and end, essentially.
Sorry.
Hello.
We forgot where we were.
Now I know the campus better.
Oh,
Where do you wanna be?
That's the good news. Okay, so we'll talk
Still
about
raining, obviously.
who is in which neighborhood, which is relevant for potential individual.
Yes, this.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
in
gonna
representation.
do outreach to our neighborhoods.
We don't know who they are.
We need to know exactly who they are.
And who are we next to?
So Rusty and Leilani, we are just at the agenda review, talking about what we're gonna talk about.
And there's agenda
Oh,
right there and
Thank
a
you.
copy of the budget sheet if you.
Yeah, so we're adding items to the agenda he has.
And then,
Money. It's the money.
and then I wanted to add an agenda item, just, I guess, to discuss my concerns about whether or not all the terms of the contract with Aquatechnics have been fulfilled. In particular, before we pay them. Anyone have anything else?
Nope.
Okay, moving on to the minutes from the October 9th meeting. Kathy made some changes and they have been,
Yeah, I had some suggested changes. I guess,
So
oh, this one's the wrong one.
the meeting minutes that I sent out to the email have the changes incorporated. The one that came out through Constant Contact did not have changes incorporated. But they were not track changed in the email either. So hard to tell which was your edits. and what wasn't.
So I did review the minutes and had comments and submitted them.
are you able to review, to tell us what those changes were?
Yeah, let me.
I'm not sure which version I'm operating.
Pull them up.
Not the one where I feel. Yeah, it's not like I feel like spraying this inadequate.
Oh.
That was a concern. So that's how you can tell the difference.
Get back to.
There was just little words on
OneDrive?
page 3. At the
What
top
was it?
where it says member Peterson's asked
The other.
why the
She
treatment
sent me.
was
marked up
inadequate.
version.
And in the draft, it said feels like the treatment was inadequate. So, and then I went on to say, communications, Soderberg city staff stated that treatment of nuisance vegetation was not included in the contract with Aquatechnics. Member Peterson stated that the item 2 in the Lake Management District goals in the IAVMP addresses this matter as follows. Control the native nuisance vegetation in the existing and infected areas, reducing the overall abundance of the plants. Member Peterson asked that this issue be added to the agenda for the next meeting. That was one change that I suggested. And then B, following under communications, then I added that there was discussion about the need to clarify neighborhood boundaries at the next meeting. It didn't stand out as a request for an agenda item, so that's why I elevated it again today. So that we would just be clear. So those were the changes that I was suggesting.
It's not showing the track changes on this version either. But thanks.
Was it sent as an email?
Yeah, I just opened the attachment as the email. And
Oh, I also wanted to do an update on Judith. Not on her specifically, but about the card with the signatures and all that.
Oh,
That.
You want to talk about that tonight?
did you want
I
me
was
to
just
print it
gonna,
out?
it's kind of like old business.
it's okay, it's,
Old
I have
business.
one that's marked up.
you do. I think she just, did you go over your track changes already? We just found them.
Yeah, I just read them,
Okay, I think we're good.
because I had them. My draft notes.
Does anyone else have any changes proposed changes to the minutes?
Is anybody gonna make a motion?
Get a motion to.
I move that the minutes be accepted as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next up is public comment, but we don't have any members of the public here tonight.
Oh, I have something from a public person. Not me, but somebody else that brought this to me and,
Okay.
they were asking about fish. Is the lake managed in it? Are the fish managed in any way or what is the fish deal?
Well, so to me, you guys have an IVAMP, so you have an integrated, aquatic vegetation management plan. That is meant to address the lake as a whole and the health of the lake and the priorities that you have as property owners on the lake. And so that should address the health of the lake and habitat, fish. Correct, well, just the lake as a whole.
Yeah.
And so that's why when Kathy made the comment about, you know, the contract and nuisance weeds versus native weeds, all of that goes into the discussion of how do we want to proceed for next year and the next year. You guys have done a really good job of controlling invasive weeds. Now you have more native weeds, which is good, but you still want to manage them. So now you have to look at how do you want to manage this lake when you're not chasing after invasive and noxious weeds so that it's a healthy lake for everybody. You know, you want it to look good, you want it to be able to be used recreationally, but then you also want it to be healthy, right? So you have to have a fair amount of vegetation and productivity in the lake. So I think we don't assess fish, we do water quality monitoring, which kind of demonstrates that we're not moving in a bad direction with the lake management. We haven't seen anything like, you know, dissolved oxygen getting depleted, which can happen if you know, kill a whole bunch of weeds all at once,
Yeah.
and then it consumes all the oxygen. That would make it more difficult for fish or anything else that lives in the lake.
Cause it
So-
consumes the oxygen because they're degrading.
Decaying.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the
Why
reason,
are you asking?
Well, are they?
because
Somebody else
I
asked
have
her
a
to ask.
new neighbor.
Yeah.
A young man, and he's new
Oh,
to the neighbor, and he said, so is there any, I like to fish, are there any fish in the lake? And I'm like, I
Yeah.
think there's big
Bluegill.
mouth, something or other. And, cause I see people out there fishing, and he's like, well, tell me what kind of fish, I said, well, I'll ask the people. What kind of fish, and can you add fish?
So the,
No, you can't add fish.
the important thing.
Oh, he goes, can I eat the trout? And I'm like, I don't know.
No, the important thing that applies is WDFW rules and regulations apply. You gotta have a license, you gotta comply with the seasons and limits, you cannot introduce outside species. You gotta comply with the boating requirements about the size of the lake and the, what kind of motor you're allowed to have or not have.
He's just in a kayak. I mean, he's just
So,
like all the other guys
Fish and
out there
wildlife
putzing
rules
around.
apply. He's gotta comply with fish and wildlife
And
rules.
where is
How do you know all that?
Been scared for 29 years.
Okay,
So,
okay.
but I mean, if he's
Those are the
going
guys
in
we work
a
with.
kayak and he's just
He-
catch and release.
Gotta have a license,
Okay.
regardless of whether he's doing catch and release. He's gotta comply with the number of poles, rods that he has. If he has a 2-rod permit or not, he's only allowed 1. You gotta have barbless hooks in the appropriate water, so there's a lot of rules that apply.
Okay.
So the answer is fish and wildlife rules apply. He has to do his homework, because if a game warden happens to meet him at the shore, if he's got barbed hooks and he's not allowed, that's a problem. If he's got live bait and it's not allowed, that's a problem. I don't know what our lake rules are, but
But you
there
could
are,
hook them up.
he could look them up.
And there are definitely fish.
And
lots
those
of fish.
apply to us.
Oh, there are?
also.
Yeah.
Those it all applies to
Yeah.
us. No kidding, I've got it easy, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a fisherman, so.
Yeah, all that stuff. So
Well, I think he knows that stuff because he's
Yeah.
asking me and I'm like, I don't know.
If he's a
I don't
fisherman,
know.
then he knows
I'll
better.
ask.
And he knows
But-
where to look for. Yeah,
Okay, I now, also, I didn't know what kind of fish, so what kind of fish are in the lake?
bass,
Don't say
Bluegills.
that,
We're not supposed to say
No.
that. she
Why
said.
can't we say
because that's
But
what
there is
attracts the
catfish.
non-lake
Well,
livers.
Well, he lives there.
Oh,
He's
he
my
lives there.
neighbor.
Okay,
He's
then.
my new neighbor.
That's
Okay, so bass and
Bass.
bluegill.
bluegill
What's
and
bluegill?
it's a type of
Google it.
warm water fish.
Okay.
What's his name?
And catfish? Is there
Catfish,
catfish?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there are.
Mhm.
I've heard, I've never
I've
seen
seen
it.
them.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Admin agreements.
Carl.
And there's
It has
a
the.
couple of different kinds of frogs, and you can gig frogs, but again, you gotta know which species are.
Well, my
open.
cat brings in frogs all the time.
Yeah.
The invasive.
Old frogs are allowed to.
She catches snakes, frogs, anything. She's brought it to me.
So I will say that, they're all classified as warm water species. And that's kind of the umbrella that they all fit under. The
Oh.
temperatures in the lake will dictate what type of fish. In this lake in particular, the temperatures get so warm in the summertime that it wouldn't even support trout if there was trout
Oh,
introduced,
okay.
but yeah, you shouldn't introduce
Yeah.
anything into the lake. That's how we got invasive water
Right.
lilies and,
That's what I was
Some of these
saying.
other
Oh,
things that,
somebody tried that before, so.
yeah.
Decent water.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Now I have an answer for you.
Any other public comments? Or concerns? Any member comments?
Our neighbor right next door to us passed away.
Oh, she did.
Oh, with the bus?
I saw the
Yeah.
ambulance there the
Yeah,
other day.
some of you saw, they posted a picture, they had a bus parade that came by, she passed away the next day.
Wow.
She came home to die, she didn't wanna stay in the hospital, and, she didn't want anybody to see her, but,
Is that your neighbor on the right hand
Yeah.
side of your house?
yeah, between me
The
and where the
green
Baxter's
house.
room used to be.
Yeah,
It's the oldest house. on this- on
the
this-
green one, kind
Yeah.
of, yeah, at the very end.
It's, yeah, it's a nice property.
The older we get, a
Huh?
lot more of that goes around.
Sorry?
The older we get.
Yeah, the
we
more
see-
that goes,
We
yeah.
see a lot more of that going around, yeah. People passing away.
She was
and
only
stuff.
65, but her husband is pretty broken up.
Yeah.
And he's gonna have to move because the house goes to her children.
Hmm.
And they'll sell it. They'll sell that. So that's happening. But we do have a new person living in the Baxter's old
Yeah.
house, which
Oh, so is that
he
this
just
guy?
bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carl.
Okay.
Yeah. And another neighbor on the other side of us is, he's 88 and he's going into hospice care tomorrow. But he's not, he's not in the part of the lake management. But,
Your neighbor wasn't either, right?
No, what do you mean? Well, she
No,
wasn't,
none of those people are, yeah.
yeah, they're not.
So Carl's in the lake management district, but not the lady.
Oh, no, she
Oh,
was.
no, they're in the district. They're all
Oh, yeah.
right there they're all our
I
neighbors.
think
I-
they're the three fantastic
I thought it
properties
was-
that she's got one of.
Oh, I thought it was the neighbor on the other side.
No, that is who is now going into dementia care. Anyway.
Be that as.
People are getting older.
Change
yes.
on your street.
Funny how that works.
Not us.
Yeah, just turned 96.
Anyway,
Any other member comment?
I'll just say that I sent a card to Judith on her behalf.
Yeah.
And I took a picture of it, but I can't find it. And I just recognized all of the years that she had, starting in, gosh,
90.
Yeah.
Almost.
really?
Yeah.
90 something.
Yeah, she was one of the original people.
Oh.
That before it was even LMD, we were just trying to get something going. She was right there from the beginning.
Barnes Lake Conservancy.
Yeah.
Well,
So
thank you
she
for
was-
doing that.
Yeah.
Kendra.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I took it over and had an opportunity to visit with her. And she's adjusting, getting back, but she really felt like it was nice to be recognized for contributions and also to be relieved of the.
I think her vision's
Right,
and it's not going to improve.
right. Her attitude, I think, is what's improving.
Oh, good. So she's
She's
accepting.
adapting.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, yeah.
She can express herself. No uncertain term.
Yeah.
So next up is lake management, and we don't have Scott here tonight, so. I think we have, well, Dave, what do you have?
Yeah, I don't have any
Absolutely.
data to share. The lake levels have been too low to go out and retrieve data, but we are looking at purchasing a new device that'll allow us to retrieve data cellularly. So I don't even have to leave my desk. I talked to the sales rep, and there potentially is a dashboard that you guys can all have access to, so you can get real-time data.
Oh,
and stuff like that.
nice.
So,
That would be cool.
and there's opportunities potentially for, to add probes. So we can have like, real-time pH or DO or dissolved oxygen. Or
Wow.
some other things too. So we're looking at some different ways to collect the data here. That's gonna be a lot more, streamlined and efficient and,
Comprehensive.
accessible.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
nice.
yeah, it'll be
That's
cool.
great.
Yeah, I have, I think to the end of this year to make that purchase. I think we got money in the budget to do that through the stormwater fund. So I just got the thumbs up, so it looks like we're gonna go for it.
So that'll be our expense?
Nope, that's gonna be.
Oh, cause
Yeah.
you can use it everywhere, right?
No, we'll dedicate it to the lake, but one of the reasons why I want to put the probes on it is so that we can monitor water quality. A portion of impacts potentially to the lake could come from stormwater that is introduced.
Yeah.
So that's why, things like dissolved oxygen, if we can get other probes that can tell us, water quality. I'd love to be able to measure phosphorus. I don't know that we'll be able to do that. That's one of the, primary issues that the lake has. And so we're looking into that to see, and then what I'd like to do is, once we start taking samples, start comparing them to the inputs into your lake, from stormwater. The rest of the stuff we don't have control over, but if the stormwater is, bringing in excessive nutrients or phosphorus, then that's something that we would want to know. And we want to do our best as a city to get those reduced before they discharge, so.
Well, we're getting a lot of input in the last few days.
Yes.
Right,
it's
but we
a lot.
can't
We're
control what
almost on
comes
the
off
lake.
people's property.
Almost, it's getting close to it. We're
What
almost on
does
water.
happen when like people put, various nutrient, fertilizers and they have these numbers like 1634, whatever, they have these three numbers, which I never know what they mean, but somebody told me recently, oh, you should put this on if you have new grass. And I said, well, I'm supposed to be careful with phosphorus. He goes, well, then don't use this.
Okay,
So-
so NPK is how they do
Okay.
fertilizers.
Oh,
Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Okay, and so ideally what you do is you take a soil test, you find out what nutrients are depleted, and then you use those numbers to bump up where you have a deficiency.
oh,
So, most plants respond quickly to nitrogen, so that first number. So sometimes you'll see fertilizers that will be like 2400.
oh,
And so they're basically, it's a quick nitrogen boost, right? If you put too much of any of those nutrients out onto any vegetation and it's more than what that vegetation can uptake,
absorb.
then there's the potential that it runs off or it goes into the ground.
Yeah.
And so you really want to try to balance those nutrients to what the needs are for the plants you're growing.
Will the conservation district do soil testing for free?
Yeah,
I think you can bring it over to like the master gardeners.
what,
So that's the
Where's-
WSU Cooperative Extension for Thurston County. They used to be located, right at the exit to, that you take from 101 to Evergreen State College. They used to be in that building right down to the
Yeah, yeah,
right-hand
yeah.
side. But they've moved, and I don't know if they're there anymore.
You've been here too long, right? That's one of
Well,
those.
no, I
Oh,
work
it
for
used to
Thurston
be
County.
going
Did you say, is that different than the county soil testing, which was always a pay, for fee? But they did it for free?
I don't know for sure. I thought they did it for free, but I don't know.
Okay. Paper line.
The bottom.
Okay.
You see, that's where then people are gonna be like, oh, I don't have the money to pay for my soil testing, so then they just throw
I'm just
whatever.
careful about.
The risk is just that you end up fertilizing the low pads.
Well, that's what I don't
That's
wanna
really the
do,
risk.
because then I have sand, it just goes right through, everything goes right through, and
Right.
then I don't wanna just feed all the vegetation that we just paid to get rid of, so. What about lime, is that bad to put on your yard?
Lime is great. What lime does is, so when you raise the pH, which that's what lime does, it makes the plants absorb those nutrients better.
Okay,
That's why you sweeten it. You sweeten your soil.
okay.
So yeah, the other update I have for the boat launch permitting update, the boat launch permitting is very extensive.
Oh,
That's my
no.
update.
Oh,
Oh,
this is
Very,
hard
very,
for,
to extend the boat ramp.
so
Very,
it is
very
going to
expensive.
be hard, huh?
It's
It's a process.
a process. It just takes a lot of time.
Like,
Years.
it'll be
Um,
ready by next spring? No.
Somewhere in
Would it,
between.
would it be a more practical option to either to encourage Aquatechnics to get a narrower boat and a narrower trailer, or to even possibly find out what happened to Doug's trailer, since he was able to launch
Yeah.
his trailer and his boat?
It's been deteriorating, it's kind of.
yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if we can convince Scott that, a different trailer would be better than applying for the proper permits,
It
but.
might be cheaper.
Well, it's not, I guess it's not a cost issue with the permits, it just takes time. Because it just has to go through
A lot of
a lot of agencies. It has to go through our agency, it has to go through Fish and Wildlife, it has to go through, is it going to Army Corps?
I don't think it's on waterworks. I don't think it has to, but it might be above the high water line, so it may.
Would it maybe, be worth it for us to suggest to Aquatex that they contact Doug's family and see if they could either buy or take off their hands the old boat with a narrow trailer? Because
Well, they already have a boat.
Yeah, but.
I know, but if they
Right,
could
too,
get
right.
for free one that works on that boat launch, that we know works on that boat launch, that the family doesn't care about because they did not sell the business, they just kind of disestablished it. They've got a boat hanging out in their garage, taking up space, they might want to get rid of.
Were you aware of that or not?
I'm just surmising if they just close the business down, they've got a
There's a
boat.
boat under a tarp sitting. in
Yeah, they've got a
the
garage
side
full of boats somewhere that works for us, that if it could get transferred to Aquatex, might solve the problem of the permit. Just a thought, one phone call would tell us.
Well, what concerns me is this year, we didn't get a first treatment because Doug died. We didn't get an early in the season treatment. And it showed,
So before we leave, cause I have a
Yes.
comment related to the launch. So I wanted
Okay, go
to finish that out.
Sorry.
We have, Jim and I have said that, they could use, Aquatechnics could use our boat for launching from our party, what is it?
Party barge?
Party barge.
Oh, your party barge, huh?
Well, it's not a dock. I don't know what it is, but in any event, that we offered the use of that, which is certainly, better than
They still-
pulling.
They still need to get the boat down into the water
Yeah.
though.
But it's our boat and it says right there.
Oh, no, the airboat,
Oh, he's talking about the airport.
yeah.
I think that it would be worthwhile to go through the permitting process, even if it takes 2 years, because then it's You know,
Well-
in the meantime, we might have to come up with some other, use a kayak or use some whatever. But
Yeah,
long term, I think that would be the better solution.
I agree. And this probably should have, a process that we should have looked at a while ago when this ramp was put in to begin with, so. Cause then we could have just probably done an addendum to the existing permit that we need to extend it, so,
Well,
Do
we're
our
doing it
best
now,
as we
so.
can.
yeah.
Okay, so you're proceeding as. best
Right,
you
and this
can.
is something that the city will do on behalf of the lake, so.
Yeah.
It's not gonna cost you guys anything, it will just take time.
Okay. That works.
And it's not time that
Keep us
we're in
posted.
control of.
I
Yeah,
understand.
Next up is general business and the newsletter.
yeah, so,
Where are you? I'm on, no.
number 8.
What about B?
Well, I thought Scott was, oh, private treatment. Okay, I saw that Scott's name was in parentheses,
Oh,
so,
yeah,
but Kathy can speak.
Yes, I can speak for both of us. I would say there were pluses and minuses about this. I guess for me, the pluses were that we were actually able to do this. We were able to more quickly get people together who
Yeah.
wanted to participate, got the applications through the city, got the contractor on board. So in terms of, it was quicker than other times to get that all in place. Also, we included new people from, particularly from Linwood, who were interested. We had some learnings there, but it was nice for me to see people engaged.
Which street is Linwood?
The street that, the fire department and Michael T. Simmons is on,
Okay.
the one they're doing all the construction on.
Parallel
Yeah.
to Prosper.
Yeah, so.
So right in front of the shallow area.
Very, which, when I lived there, it really isn't a lake. It really isn't. It's a wetland down there.
Yeah.
And in the winter, you get some water.
Yeah.
But you really have to realize you're not living on a lake at that end. It's just not.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like but I think more.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just grass and stuff in the summer. There is no water. And I mean, and that's from June to October, November, before it starts to rain. It really doesn't get to be any kind of water until like January. And then in like April, my kids would go out there and play. And then by June, it was, when it was summer, there's no water.
So some of the people there have kids and they figure out how to get their boats out in the water, and the families are just, it was really nice for me to hear. I haven't heard anything from that side of lake management for, I guess, quite a long time. Some of the challenges, for one, we have weather challenges. And we also had contractor availability challenges. So if we had been able to, I think we would have had better results if we had been able to actually treat on October 17th, which was the original date that he was thinking. And actually, going back to, he said he was ready the day after we did the walkabout. I said, can we do this? He's, asking him, can we do a contract? And he said, yeah, I could mobilize and do this, because he did it from the shoreline with the backpack thing.
Yeah. Right, but we have to approve it,
No,
so it has to go through us first.
different thing. Like, it's like a 4-piece going down the road, and one piece is the contractor availability. And he said he was available. I was trying to coordinate the participants, contractor, the city, and the weather. So there's a lot of moving pieces. So I'm not meaning to say that I was gonna do it without the city.
No, I just thought you meant he could have done it the very next day, but the paperwork and stuff
Right,
wasn't
right.
already filled
Yeah,
out.
but he himself he said, I'm here, I can do this. I was like, okay, let me mobilize and figure out what needs to be done.
And what day was it actually done?
The 28th,
October 28th.
Was it?
I think, yeah, 29.
Well, and what we can do is we'll just start that paperwork early in the season. So that it's all
Right.
set up and then he could do it at the same time as he does his regular application.
Yes.
There's no
If
reason
somebody
it can't be
Right,
done simultaneously,
right.
as long as he's got enough time in his day. So I think what we do this next coming year is notify, the people around the lake early when we're just starting and get all of that paperwork
If
done
people-
right from the
yeah.
get-go.
If that's what people want to participate. And also I was thinking that once people participate the first time, it's like done. It's like easy. You guys have seen it just like we did already.
Yeah.
And, as a new people, it takes a little bit longer to get the information. But if it's something that, I guess from a process standpoint, I thought it worked better. The weather, and then ultimately he got sent to a job in Idaho that took a lot of time.
Yeah.
And we couldn't control that. And then people now are doubting whether, we don't know, obviously, we have no way of knowing how much this worked until next summer.
It could have rained the next day.
Do you know what he used? I'm assuming he used either glyphosate or ClearCast. Did he make mention of it?
I thought it was the first thing.
It was blue.
Yeah, it was dyed, but I think that probably.
Glyphosate, is that Roundup?
Roundup is one
He
of
said,
the
he said it
products.
was whatever he used when he was treating from them.
Okay, so that was probably ClearCast, a Mazamox.
Which
That's what he has in his contract
Yes,
for
for
the
sure.
other lilies.
Yeah. I guess I was thrown off because of it was colored.
Yeah, that's probably just a dye, so
Yeah,
that he
so
can
that
see
he-
where he can see it
I
on the
know.
It's
top.
clear. It's blue.
Very, very literal here. And there were, difficulties of communication, and Lalani, I apologize to you.
Oh, no, my only thing is that, it happened really fast and I was at work. I couldn't like, okay, he's gonna be here and I'm like, I can't drop my patients and I have to go be home for the, so that was my only thing. I need like some notice so I can reschedule things and make myself available. Which, given his schedule, that's not what he was able to do, but.
Yeah, 'cause
So-
it was, most people were able to be, on site with him. And that to me worked the best, because then they could directly say what they wanted and watch and ask questions. He was really open about, answering questions.
Yeah.
That I was really impressed about that. He took
Good.
time with people, to ask about, anything. He was there for that. And the way that I had done the expenditures was take the cost for a half a day of treatment and then divide it by the participants. So that kind of locked into a box of, everybody going down. And so if somebody else wants to pick up the part of doing this where they figure out who knows, who pays how much when, I'm open to. But that was the way that I approached it. And, like ordering a pizza, and we all go in on ordering a pizza, so. It ultimately, anyway, there were challenges, but fewer than the last time. that
See, we're just
tried
gonna
to
get,
do this.
every time we get a little better.
It was. Pretty smooth to me.
And I got a lot better support from the people here working with their neighbors too. That was nice.
That helps, when you don't have to do it all.
Yes, yeah.
Then Matt texts me, he's on your way, and I'm like at work.
Well, Kathy Peterson's making all this money to manage this for us.
Oh. No, it
She's in
wasn't,
it for the fame.
yeah, no.
She's in it for the fame.
I
It's
have
the
no
fame. It's the
qualms
fame.
about that. I just felt badly. I couldn't respond as fast as it was happening.
Yeah. He was quick. And
Yeah,
I was impressed by how much you can do from the shoreline,
you can shoot a long way with that. thing.
25 feet.
Is that what it was?
Isn't it that, I think that's, it's kind of like gauged or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's what remember when he was out in front of your place, you said, how far could you get? And he's
Yeah.
like, about 20, 25 feet.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, do the boat, go as far as you can.
Well, Kathy, do you see an easy way to work around the issue of availability of the owner? I mean, was this put together with, with only 1 or 2 days' notice, right?
Well, we had lots of notice.
No, but it's.
So,
when he's
so the question is,
available.
how does Leilani get a reservation time and date so that she can be there
Yeah.
when he's gonna come apply? Can we make that work?
Yeah, I think he told me, so that was what did I say this? It was, 29th, so that was a Tuesday. I could look at my correspondence, but as soon as he told me, he said, it's not gonna rain on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, so he says, I'm gonna go, Tuesday morning, so
So he's working 2 or 3 days in
The
advance based on the
based
weather
on the
forecast.
weather.
yeah, you're not gonna get a big
Right.
notice in advance.
No, in
And-
October.
Unless we can get it
Yeah.
earlier
Earlier.
in the season,
Yeah.
and
So
that,
the
and that
answer
would be
is-
the key thing.
And with August instead of October.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
well, I mean, we're trying to put it together this year, this
Yeah.
kind of the new.
Well, at the last minute, yeah, and
Yeah.
the city's saying that you can get the permit processed early in the season so that it's ready to
Yeah.
go whenever the contractor is available.
Yeah.
So that is another way that's gonna improve the notice to the folks that, so it looks like it's fixable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I think this year, largely, we had to be patient for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to figure out, how do you take this brand new person?
Yeah.
I mean, he just learned his job here this year.
Yeah.
He's never been out here before. I mean, he
Where did he
moved
never
out
get- Oh, from where?
from Vermont, I think.
What?
Oh,
When he came,
Walker, that Vermont.
Even easier.
Those are right next to each
It was
other.
New England.
Oh, I had no
And so-
idea.
he came, I don't even think when he came here, he was even living here yet.
Oh,
correct.
And
my
then
gosh.
Time we met him.
he moved here.
Yes.
And this was his very first time with this company in this location.
Oh, wow.
So everything was new to him. So,
So we need to offer some grace.
so
Yes,
I think
and
we
were in a learning
start
phase.
our processes earlier. We communicate better to him. We cajole him to
Yeah.
communicate better to us
Yeah.
and let him know that we really need to coordinate when he's going to be available.
Yeah.
So that all the people can be informed so that they are available
Right.
when he's there, especially for the private treatments. Not so much for the
Yeah.
full lake treatment, because he just needs to have access to the lake. But when he does the private treatments, you guys wanna be there, so that's really when we want to know.
Yeah.
Let's coordinate on a date that almost everybody can be there. And then we need to find out who are those property owners are who absolutely need to be there when he
Oh, yeah.
comes.
Yeah.
And who's okay with him doing the application when they're not there. That's
But
key to
there's
the
a key.
communication up front.
I wanna say that this started because the contract didn't cover the nuisance lilies. And the homeowners, like whoever participated, had lily pads that they wanted treated. So it kind of started, that's why I was bringing up the idea that we need to include the nuisance lilies in the contract so that that doesn't become the burden of the private pay. So
Sure.
we were kind of
Right.
filling in just because that's what we wanted.
Are the
Yes.
nuisance lilies the big ones with the white flowers?
Yeah.
They're the
Oh,
little
yes,
tiny-
yes, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the nuisance are, the
Yeah.
native ones are the little guys.
Okay.
So that is, I think, an important point, maybe for these private treatments, is that we wanna, have the main treatments happen first, because they'll target the invasive water lilies,
And the
And-
nuisance.
and then,
And it,
and the, whatever other things our contract covers, and then the private pay would be after that.
no, the current contract does not cover nuisance.
Okay, we're gonna rewrite the contract so it's gonna include nuisance, right? That's what we've talked about, that's what we talked about
Okay.
last time?
It,
So-
it wouldn't be the contract, what it would be is the permit. So the permit that he applied for to ecology was specific to the nuisance weeds
That's- so it's the
and not the
permit.
native weeds.
Okay.
And that's why when he went through, he just sprayed the bladderwort and the
Right.
fragrant water lilies.
What,
But not
the
the
piece
little
that I'm trying to
tiny
work here is that we don't want the private pay to occur first and have the owners say, I want those invasive water lilies treated.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna treat those with
Right,
the
we
contract.
want it.
So that's what I'm trying to
No, I,
put together here, is how we make this private pay do everything we want it to do. So we want the city to get the permit early in the summer so that the permit's already available. We want the
No,
contractor
he
to
gets the permit.
identify their availability windows so that we know when they can come. And then we want the owners to look at when they're available and pick, let's say, 3 dates, a primary, a backup, and then the emergency fallback date, when the owners can be there to do the treatments. And then the last thing is the weather. And the contractor checks the weather at the primary date and shows up.
I
Checks it
don't
secondary.
see it that way.
so,
at
so
all.
let me, so what
I
I think,
think-
what I think Kathy is saying is we hold off on the private treatment because she believes that if we include all nuisance weeds, regardless of whether they're native or noxious weeds, that by doing the maximum application area, that it will include all of
We
in
won't
front
need
of the
private pay.
homes.
Right.
That's what you're
That's
hoping.
supposed to be an
That's
exception.
what you're hoping, is that it won't include. Okay, well, so what I described happens in the last position and timeline.
Right.
So I agree with that. Hopefully, the main treatment will take care of all that. But if it doesn't, and if,
Right, in this case, in this communication.
but the point I'm trying to make is we can't wait until we know all that stuff before we even start thinking
Right.
about the private pay.
Oh, no.
That's why I'm saying, let's schedule the private pay process to occur up front so that all those timely things are done. And then if we don't need it, we don't need it.
But if we go with the maximum application area for the entire lake, you will not be able to do any private treatments because you will have exhausted all of your littoral zone application area as per the permit.
Well, see,
Well, that's
So
all right.
you have to,
Which is what we have historically done. I remember for
Yeah.
certain that Doug Dorling
Oh, yeah.
had an employee go around with a backpack sprayer at the north end of the lake and other spots
Yeah.
and spot treated. So assuming that that was all legal and acceptable under the permit, we have done that
Right.
before as part of just the
which
regular.
may very well be why you notice a big difference this year from previous year.
Yeah. Right.
Because if he was already doing the full 60 and included all the lakefronts and just kept the conservation areas not sprayed, then I know where those conservation areas are.
right,
And it's up where it's super shallow. It's down at slightly east of where the condos are, where those islands are, but your spray area includes in front of the condos. So if you look to your right as you're looking at the lake, that's a conservation area.
Yes.
And then there's a conservation area that goes straight out from the property that the church owns.
Yeah.
Straight out and it kind of wedges like this to the island.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yes.
So I also wanted to say that this is the third time that we have done the private pay. Every time, the first two were before we had the rate increase.
Right.
Because what we were doing is the people who are most invested, which is the lakefront people, we were supplementing the money that was coming in through the regular process. Because that's where the most, we get the most benefit of viewing.
Yeah.
So that's why people stepped up in the past two. And then this one, where the lakefront people are saying, what happened here? We're looking at this. We don't want to look at this. And it gums up our oars. So I don't foresee this to be an every year process.
Yeah, so what I would suggest is next year when we get Scott in, if we don't have a meeting in December, would be to start with that map
Yes.
and
exactly.
say,
Yeah, that's great,
we're
yes.
moving,
Yes.
we're not moving away from nuisance weeds. What we are doing is we want to understand where we can get control across the lake with respect to, here's our conservation areas,
Yes.
here's the rest of it. Can it all be treated for nuisance weeds?
And it's worth noting, Doug went above and beyond, I would say, by treating the invasive water lilies within the conservancy zones.
Yeah, that's.
If they
required.
were invasive, he hit them even when they were in the conservancy zone.
But that's what the contract, the permit says.
Yeah. His intent was to kill 100%.
Yeah, to get rid of the
of
invasives.
All of it.
Yeah, but you don't, those are spot sprays as opposed to a.
And you may accidentally hit a couple, but yeah.
So is that a future discussion item, the whole thing about this, the permit, changing the permit and then clarifying the conservancy?
Yeah,
So
basically, I
that's a
think that that's how we
January thing.
start with
With
Scott
Scott.
next year. We say, okay, here's what you did last year. Tell us about how you perceive the efficacy of what you did. Give us a summary of your application and the results of that application. And then we talk about, here's our goals for next year. And then with that, we bring up the map, he talks us through the control that he did and what he thinks about it. And then we say, here's what we would like to do. What are your thoughts? And then if we have to modify the map, so at least the people who are in the discussion can see where we're proposing to do the work.
When is
Good.
his report due? Does anybody know?
There is no date on it, so I would have assumed it would have been at this meeting.
I think Doug used to do it in January.
Yeah, which is why we didn't get one, of course.
Yeah.
So, a lot of
Fortunately, he
times
walked us
for
through it
aquatic
before.
applicators, winter time is when they do their report right, they don't have any more work to do. So they spend these winter months closing out their season and then preparing for the next one. So I imagine, if he hasn't started writing it, he'll spend November, December writing up that, and then we, let him know we need him at the next meeting so that we can work towards 2025.
There's so much we don't know about how all these things work.
Gosh, are we doing our 25 meeting schedule?
Yeah,
Yeah, we need to.
we need to
25.
do that.
No.
I already got half of 25 scheduled.
It would be much less of a problem to schedule you if you could retire.
I've been told that many times. Well, that's just.
The problem
You
is
just,
having this labor force.
So
That
back
was me.
So we're done with the
Yeah,
discussion
so-
of
yeah, so we
private
have-
treatment.
And we're already building the January agenda.
Yes, don't even have a date yet, but we'll get there. So newsletter planning. That's a
Yeah, this, so
Like there's. You
And
threw my
we're
name in there?
referring to the newsletter that goes out with
the assessments, right, yeah, we've been trying to do an annual newsletter.
Oh.
It was helpful to have some articles written by the steering committee. In the past, I think Gary submitted one and Kathy and.
I did one.
Yeah, Rusty
I
did
mean,
one.
Judith
So,
and
I thought you did the best one.
Wait, this is a newsletter just for Barnes Lake, or is it for, oh?
Well, you have kind of,
yeah, it's been going out with the assessments every year.
it's for the
just to
fame.
let everybody know what we've been doing. And
Yeah, and budget updates, work plans, stuff like that. So, I think we have a template to work with. And if there's some assignments that folks want, we can delegate some assignments, if that's helpful. Try to pull one up.
I would volunteer for like a poem, I'll write a poem, or I'll
I
submit
think you
photographs
two should work together.
about the lake.
about the lake,
Poem.
but any kind of like actual real research, yeah.
I like a poem, that's good.
We'll see if I can cobble something together, not a poem.
Yeah, you guys
Because my
can.
poem would be silly.
You
How
guys
about a
would be
haiku?
Oh, a haiku, that would be good, yeah.
I was thinking a hybrid
Oh, a hybrid.
between you guys.
Oh,
Good for you.
Well, I like the poem, and then Rusty's more of a kind of newspaper reporter
Yeah,
type.
yeah, just kind of what's been going on, like all this about the changes, Doug died, you know, I mean, people
We've
don't
had a
know
lot
that.
of changes.
Does the conservancy site get pictures posted on it, would be useful? Couple of recent wildlife pictures or lake.
Sure. I submitted some pictures to Dan, which he put in something that he, Yeah, out there.
The website.
yeah. I think those are kind of fun to see pictures
Yeah.
of the lake in different seasons and things.
Critters.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like a list again about what critters are around. I mean, I remember like when I came in to sit in on your guys' meeting in June, you were talking about otters. I was like, otters.
Oh, I saw two of them.
I saw two of them this
Right?
week.
He was
Yeah.
on this
So
one.
This week, yeah.
I've been looking for them, but.
Yeah,
Well, I
both
see
of them.
signs of beavers. I got
Oh, yeah.
wires around my trees.
Yes.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, cause they come up and they
Oh,
eat
yeah,
the bark
yeah.
right off the trees,
Oh, the whole tree.
right in my yard.
So the 2024 newsletter, we had a section aquatic vegetation management update, and it talked about Doug's passing. And I think at that time we were in the middle of trying to recruit a new contractor, so we can talk more about Aquatechnics and maybe some of their background, and that would be kind of helpful. Talked a little bit about phosphorus and the need to keep phosphorus low. I think that's a message that probably will resonate again. I mean, you can't, sometimes these messages, you can't hit them enough. So we can maybe change that up a little bit and maybe hit a different part of phosphorus management. Let's see, we had BLMD rate increase. It essentially was a quick blurb just about what our funding goes towards.
The rate increases, what is it? 5% a
5%
year.
annually through
Yeah.
2037.
Yeah.
And then we had a breakdown of 2024, the different classes of assessments that we charge, so we can update that for 2025 if you want the table. Lakeside perspectives, we had, I think this is one Kathy did for Gary's award. And then all for volunteers for monitoring. And then we just had updates about our steering committee and the meeting schedule and Zoom links and stuff like that. So
What month did it come out?
this came out in May.
Lights.
I think that was a little bit
That-
later than we normally do it.
I
isn't
thought it was
Wasn't
usually March.
March, April-ish.
Cause it was usually trying to go with the assessment notices, which went out late this year because of, I don't remember what the circumstances were, but
I think it was just the transition between Dan and Patrick and the new contractor, and there was, I'm gonna throw you under the bus, sorry. No, there was a lot of change this year, so I think there was, and we moved into this building in May, so that was kind of going on as well, and there was just a lot going on. So this year should be a little bit smoother, so that's why we wanted to bring it up
Put it with the assessment.
sooner than later, so we can start planning for that. It's not, I think Patrick and I threw this thing together at the last minute, last year, so. But yeah, we had a little bit of, just a little bit of thought, forethought going into it. I think we could, produce some good articles and have some good information that goes out.
The thing that you talked about getting the digital stuff, readings that you could
Oh,
do.
yeah,
That would be
But yeah, and that would be, I mean, it doesn't have to be very technical, but it's reading what basic water quality, right?
it'll read, water levels, temperature, I think we can get a dissolved oxygen probe,
Okay.
and it does some other
Yeah,
things
so
too.
you lake data.
Yeah,
So by the time we really need to be working on the newsletter, we'll maybe have an update on getting the new sensors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just.
So
yeah.
are we talking about like the January or April meeting?
we should have
We're
it,
talking about the newsletter still, aren't we?
The newsletter would
which-
go out in April, right?
yeah, it would probably go out.
Yeah.
So
So
I think what we do
January.
is in January meeting, maybe solidify who's gonna write about what. And then see how long it takes to put it together. I mean, I don't wanna put a due date on
No,
anything at this time.
Yeah,
But, our goal would maybe to get it out with the assessments,
Yeah. That would.
around the same
I
time
think- I-
or before them.
I think it's become more important to put it,
Yes.
to get it out with the assessments because we no longer really do an annual meeting for everyone. So
And
this is
it
our,
goes up every.
this is our one
Yeah.
and only opportunity to really
Yeah,
present what we're doing to our
And I
neighbors.
think the increase in the assessment garners more interest, as we found
Yes,
out with the
yes.
private treatment this year, which was a big surprise.
I was amazed at how much people were happy to
Yeah.
review.
Yeah, people value,
Yeah.
being able to access.
So let's revisit the newsletter January and get serious about it.
yeah,
And rough out an outline and responsibilities,
We'll work
who's
on
gonna
that.
do what.
between now and the next meeting, just gotta have that ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, and it's your guys' newsletter. You let us know what you think is valuable information to put in.
One of the things that I remember Doug really harping about was, that we don't value, the reeds and the,
Okay. Yeah, that shoreline vegetation. that-
yeah, he was saying.
Because if none of that were there, the lake would look
He was
really
saying-
different.
Well, he was saying that the cattails are really important because they filter and that we don't appreciate them as much as we should.
And some of them were edible.
They're all edible.
Especially if you want to get on the board here.
But in as much as they seem to, or Doug suggested that they keep us from having bad algae blooms
Right.
that are common in other lakes. Doug always said that the conservancy areas serve as sort of a, what do you call it, a sink or
Like a nutrient sink. So
Yeah.
what happens is, I mean, if you think about what vegetation does, it is a living nutrient. It is taking all those nutrients from the soil and becoming a plant. So and these shallow lakes around here all have nutrient problems. That's the number one problem with them. They're eutrophic. It means that they're turning into swamps.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's an overabundance of nutrients. And so when you have an overabundance of nutrients, you get an overabundance of vegetation growth. Because it's just turning that nutrient into a plant. And when you kill the plant and then just put it back in the water, you're just recycling those nutrients. No nutrients come out. So when you have a plant, that's nutrients that aren't on the bottom of your lake. And so that's why it's not great to nuke your lake of all vegetation. And that's why when we started this meeting, you guys are at a point where you need to think about what is the best for the lake. If you kill all of your natives over and over and over, you will get more invasive plants. I mean, it's just like scalping your lawn. If you just mow your lawn super tight and low all the time, you will get more weeds than if you let it grow and be competitive. So so vegetation isn't bad for a lake. It's good for a lake. It makes a healthy lake, but there's a balance. And that's where you guys have to figure out what is in your best interest to balance the health of your lake and the aesthetics that you want to achieve. And if you only have the swampy areas and the shallow areas be your conservation zones, and expect to get more invasive weeds in your
And
central
and
parts.
algae, potentially. So that's a
Right.
good subject for the newsletter, is just kind of appreciating our cattails and appreciating our native lilies and plants that do grow in the lake, because there's a benefit
Sure.
to water.
And like everything, they wax and wane. They come, some years are gonna be really good for
Yeah.
invasives, and other years it's gonna not be as good. And it all has to do with temperature and light and how deep your lake is. So there's a lot of factors. But, that's why you guys are here. You guys are managing your lake. You're paying attention to what you're doing. You're getting feedback from the person who's doing it. And hopefully they help us all make decisions on how to progress.
So maybe we can assign Leilani to write a poem about cattails or.
All in
I like
favor?
She's not here.
So she's not here. I know, but do we have a motion? The poem about cattails.
All
I
right,
like it.
that's
Okay.
right. Anybody else gonna take a call outside of the work?
No, heck no. Okay.
If you're not here, you get
You
whatever.
get assigned
you
us.
get.
That's right.
Next up, the steering committee vacancy updates.
Yeah, I think we were hoping to have more of an update about, we had, applications that went out to Sherry McCaffrey and Matt Brownell.
Yeah.
We haven't heard back,
Where are
or did we hear back from Sherry?
I don't know that we have a completed application sent back.
I don't think so either.
Troy Patience is on that list too. Troy from the condos, or is he already approved?
I don't think we've gotten any applications filled out.
Can we follow up with them and just say, we're still interested? Whoever,
I'd be happy to
Oh,
go
do
with you and not.
by knocking on people's doors. I was suggesting via email, I guess.
Yeah.
That we just say, hey,
I'll reach out to Troy because he was on the Zoom
You and
last
I
month.
should go visit.
So
And Matt is,
Troy,
Matt is in
and
uh,
Sherry?
Lonnie's old
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
I had one from Sherry.
And he's at the very end of.
Yeah.
I just remember you sending
Oh,
out the
street.
application, I just don't remember any follow
Wait,
up.
sometime when you're.
Let's check on it.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Okay,
Cause I thought it had to go through,
we have a
does it have to
plan.
go through council?
It goes to Brittany,
Okay.
I think she's the one who.
Just let them know there's a limited number of openings on the steering committee.
Coveted.
So if they want to be
Coveted.
part of it, they better get
Limited
their
number of covenants.
application in
That's
soon.
Okay, yeah, we'll follow up, best we can, but yeah, if you guys wanna do some
Thought that.
nudge,
Bring
nudge,
her
wink, wink.
dog.
Now, did they email us directly or did it get forwarded from a steering committee member?
I had Matt's email from some easements we were doing with him, and so I emailed him.
Cause I'm gonna Google do a search, and if I just do their names and they didn't send it directly, then it's not gonna come up.
I know Matt didn't submit one,
Okay.
but Sherry, I can't remember if Sherry did or not, so.
Okay.
I know
I'm
I sent
guessing
him out.
not, but she was only willing to serve if Jody would stay. So it's between the two of them.
Is Jody?
Well,
That was-
well,
that was
well.
Jody?
Congratulations.
Yes.
Oh, no. Sign me up for something, might not happen.
You like cattails, right? Like cattails?
You're the
Everyone
chair.
likes cattails.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't.
Oh, no.
Am I gonna get rid of them? Is that my new job?
Well, we were just.
They want you to write a poem about it.
We were just.
I guess your poem would be different than we expected.
One thing that
And how
that
great
he
they
did
are.
say, that shoreline vegetation is good for the lake. It feeds the lake.
The
It
water
has-
quality.
It's nutrients, but so we gotta balance that with aesthetic considerations, you know, but it's not that they're bad.
Right.
And they're tasty.
Yes, yes.
Cattails.
Very
You can eat
good.
'em.
A
Oh,
little bit of wasabi on it.
Yeah, don't
Okay.
start eating them from top down though.
Yes. Solid advice.
No, that's.
Don't wanna know how you learned that, but.
I use that for a full third.
Okay.
Nootropic, man, that's a new
Okay,
word.
So
for
the
me.
2025
We're doing,
2025 meeting schedule, this is
Oh.
important, everyone break out your
Okay.
calendars.
Oh,
And I, will, do we want to just kind of try to follow the schedule we had last year, but in 2025, in other words?
And Dave was kind enough to put all of those dates at the bottom of
Yes.
your agenda.
yeah.
Very cool.
yes, every time, that's really helpful.
So the first meeting then would be,
Are you saying you did that for 25?
No.
No, just for
No,
last year,
so
so
you
you
can
can
kinda
kind of
see.
aim for those
Right.
areas.
Are we still interested in the second Tuesday of the month, or is that not?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday, that's the day,
Yes.
whatever day it is.
Because of you.
Today is second Tuesday.
Okay, second
No, it
Tuesday. Yesterday
isn't.
was first Tuesday, today's
No,
second
it
Tuesday.
isn't.
All right, so the second Wednesday of the month, as opposed to like January 31st is the opposite of the second Wednesday of the month.
I thought the end of January was, we did that partly because,
Okay.
it would pick up the contractors. report.
So if we were to do an equivalent, it'd be January 29th this year.
Next year.
30th?
Or
Oh, wait,
next year.
29.
The 29th.
Next Tuesday, what?
Would be January 29th, 2025, would be the equivalent of what we had
And
last
that's
year.
Wednesday.
Yes, that's the last Wednesday of the month, which
Okay.
we had done to pick up the
Yeah.
permitting.
so does that work for everyone?
It picks up the contractor's report.
Works for me.
Okay, so January
29th.
29th. Okay, then now
And
we're.
looking at April,
Ba, ba, ba.
and maybe we, for
The ninth?
April, we look at the 9th.
I'm gonna vote, wait, let me look, cause that might be spring break. For me, as a school employee, and I will be gone. Nope, it's actually the week before, so I'll be back.
April 9th.
4/9.
Yep.
4/9.
May is, May 8th? No, 7.
And those two meetings are kind of awkwardly close together. I think in years past, we've even canceled.
No, because we're getting ready for the season.
But maybe we could do a little bit, cause they're only a month apart.
Yeah, but that's when all the prep for the season gets all the decisions.
Do we want the second week?
Well, I guess the second week pushes it out to the 14th,
Oh,
So,
I see.
May 14th.
Oh, it's. the
Yeah, that would
14th.
be better.
I was looking wrong.
And then this is when it's just such a, this always feels weird to me,
To have the whole summer off.
yeah. Although I think September 11th, give or take, is a good time for the walkabout. Oh,
So what did we say about me?
May 14th,
May 14th.
April 9th.
Right, got that.
And
May 14th.
what was somebody saying?
next up is the walkabout.
And
that'd be September 10th.
I will probably be gone, but that's okay.
But if we did it, or there's the next, oh wait, is it still on a Wednesday? There's the 17th.
I'll be here the 17th. It's a shorter day, it gets darker earlier. If we go out
Oh, right.
September
That's always a
17th.
little bit of an issue is running out of daylight.
What about September 3rd?
So
I'll be
nothing,
gone.
nothing between May and.
September 3rd is the first day of school, so
Yeah,
that's a
no,
tough day.
that's not good.
What?
September 3rd.
Yeah, it's the first day of school, so that's a,
Nothing between May and September?
No,
Typically, no.
Is that what we usually do?
Right.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
For the one year I've been here, yes.
What-
Because in August, they're still doing treatment, right? Or is the treatment just in July? Or,
We don't know.
Don't know for sure. Depends on his scheduling.
There's a lot
I
of.
wish
Okay.
we had a meeting in there somewhere. I felt like part
the
of the
summer?
reason why the treatment kind of ran away and didn't happen was that we just didn't meet.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else felt that way, but I felt like everything just kind of was abandoned for the summer.
So
I mean, I have a feeling that we'll never get Scott at a summer meeting,
Yeah, cause he's
To
gonna
be
be
honest with
busy.
you.
Oh, right.
because that is his time.
I guess what happened was we knew that he couldn't do the treatment before, what is it, July 15th?
Yeah, it was like the second week of July or something like
Because the
that.
Department of
Fish and Wildlife, I believe, yeah.
won't let them spray before then.
What? Oh, really?
oh,
Yes.
right.
Yeah,
And then
so
it's too late.
the problem then was, we all thought, great, July 16th is the day. But then we didn't get him until,
But that's cause I think he was
September.
pre-scheduled, cause he just, my understanding
Started.
was that he was already booked for other places and Barnes Lake got thrown at him, and so he's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll put you at the end of my already busy summer. But
but
now he will have us as part of his.
I guess I
schedule.
just,
Regular.
I'm concerned that if we get into the same situation next year that we had this year, we don't even have a meeting to kind of develop a plan of
Okay,
attack.
so when do you wanna do it?
Are you thinking August?
August?
Yeah, what's the second Wednesday of August?
The 13th.
My thinking is, maybe it's just me because I'm July and August, I am like everywhere and I'm
It's-
not home.
It's a hard time of year to schedule.
Cause I'm trying to do everything I wanna do, like if I'm remodeling, if anything I'm trying to do, my house, maintenance, everything, I'm busy in the summer, cause I have 2 months of it.
So are we thinking the 27th of August?
Well, I guess I'm just throwing out my feelings, and if I'm the only one who feels that way, it's
No,
okay, we don't
no,
have to
you're
have a
not.
meeting.
No, I feel the way too.
Okay.
I think we were just waiting because we thought you would propose a date.
Oh, well, and I
That's-
don't have
that's
strong
4 months
feelings
from now.
about it, but
Oh, yeah.
So how do you feel about us talking to Scott at the next meeting? See if we can figure out, would he be constrained to the same time schedule he had this year? Could he predict a little bit closer? Cause what we would like to have is maybe a meeting within a few weeks after his application. And if he could tell us for sure, I'm gonna do it in July, or I'm for sure I'm gonna, cause is there any benefit of having a meeting before he goes out and applies?
I don't think there is. I guess it feels like if he does not get out there when he says he's going to, we don't have an organized way to do anything about it until October.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know each other much yet, so, yeah, I know what you mean.
But I felt like, especially last year, we should have been a higher priority because the lake level drops. And at some point, you simply can't get out there and spray if you
Right.
wait too long.
Well, when did he spray this year? I don't remember.
I think it was August.
Yeah, I think it was mid-August.
Last, we had this like answer from last meeting, I think it was, but I can't remember exactly if it was like something like around August 9th or 14th or something like that between.
Yeah, I don't think I got it into minutes or anything. So what we're trying to schedule is the walkabout. And for one thing, we want him to be participating in the walkabout.
And he was this year.
Right. And maybe that's why we made it so late.
I think the request was to have an additional meeting before the walkabout. Isn't that what you were getting at? Or moving the walkabout date? I think if you move the walkabout date into August, you're gonna lose people.
Yeah, it's too hard to do it in August. I was talking about more of a regular meeting.
That's what I thought.
To kind of.
Like a
And we
check-in
can
or
even
something.
cancel it, if everything gets sprayed and we're happy, it's mainly as a backup plan in the event that the spraying is not happening like we want it to. I think we need to convene to figure out how we're gonna address that with the contractor.
So are you, in terms of the walkabout, are we thinking about September 17th?
I think it would work. I
I
don't think that,
I got a conflict with, we picked the third Wednesday,
oh,
but that's, you know, it's not a problem. I mean, it's.
Please, get the chair of the vice.
Yeah, let's
just one person,
set the
so.
10th, and I will send one of my kids as a delegate. If I'm not,
So
There you go.
Walk around on September 17th.
no, I think the 10th,
The
Oh,
10th.
on the 10th.
yeah, let's just.
and you guys usually do the rock on at 5.
Right.
October 8th. For everyone,
Yeah, November.
Well,
Was.
So the walk around on the 10th, can we meet at 5:30?
About 5.
This year we did 5:30. Anyway, whatever.
5 PM.
5's fine.
I think we met at 5.
Okay. And then the next one is October 1.
8, 12.
Yes,
October
it's at
8,
5 o'clock.
November 12th. Really? That's yesterday.
And so what I will do with Scott is, in his work plan or scope of work, he says he'll attend 3 meetings. What I would want to see if we can lock him down is to state which 3 meetings we need him at. And I would say the January, September, and November.
Yeah.
Unless you guys have any. Cause
Yeah,
to
'cause
me,
January
here's the
can update us
thing,
for the next
January,
year.
we set things up.
Mhm.
September, we walk around and we talk about what we see.
Treatment.
And what he did.
And,
Yeah.
right, and November, we close out the year, we get his summary, we get all of that stuff. That's what I would
Yeah.
recommend, but how do you guys feel about that?
Okay.
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said January, and then what was next?
Then the
walkabout?
walk around so you could see, and then November
September.
13th, he would report on what he did.
I would say January, May, September. Because May, we get him before he treats.
But if you already have your work plan developed in January, what would you discuss in May?
Are you also thinking that maybe May would not be a likely time that he would be able to come?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, what would you discuss with him? If you've already, if we set up the work plan and the permit in January, then what would we discuss in May? Because it would be prior to him doing it.
We're not prepared to do that in January.
That's, in January, we're gonna say,
But we're sitting here now, like, we're not ready to say anything to him. What would we say?
well, this is what we want. We want noxious weeds and native, non-native. We want you to spray around the edge with a guy, have a guy like Doug, this is.
But this is, the January is when he tells us his report.
Yes.
Well,
Right,
this
but what
year,
I'm
but
saying-
next year he'll tell us on November 12th. Is that what you're
That,
thinking?
that he would close out the year in November and then, and then we would plan for the next year in January.
Right. This
If
year,
you
like,
don't, if you don't wanna do that, if you want to, I mean,
this year it's a little messed up because he's got started later. We didn't get to talk to him, but starting next year, the new plan will be, we talk to him. Tell him what we want.
but I mean, I don't have any problem with us just going, have January, he closes out the year. That way he can fiscally be done with his calendar year. And then, like you said, if you want to,
Me in May.
but I would say, you don't wanna develop your work plan in May.
Right.
That's
Which
too
one?
late. I would say
April,
you'd
right?
wanna go to April then.
Yeah.
So then you go January, April, and then not again until September, and then you'd be done. And all we can do is request,
Well, yeah,
because there's nothing
we
specific
can get our
that's,
head together. and
You
then
know.
we-
I mean, I think it behooves him as a contractor to come and do that with us, so.
It was
I don't
great
think
to
it's
have him on the
unreasonable.
line.
Yeah, that was.
Speaking of the work plan.
We're gonna skip work plan until Dave comes back. He had to go pick up his daughter,
Oh,
so I'm gonna go to budget, if that's okay.
Before you go to budget, I had a question. About like this. Can we get something like this for each of the 15 different categories? So that we know, this is the old one, 2022. But there's,
I don't know what you're even looking at.
oh,
The rate increase.
the rate increase, and there's really, this only shows 1, 2, 3, 4 different categories. And there's several more,
Correct.
there aren't 15, are there?
or maybe 9. Maybe only 10, because like there's, yeah, there's this and that, and the school and everything like that. Because I was hard pressed when I was asked, what the annual fee was gonna be for 2025, I couldn't figure it out. Because we also.
$271 and some odd cents.
Okay, so that's, I think, also the church. Maybe not. Anyway, we paid the church. We paid for the church and from this couldn't quite. I guess we thought the church went from 120 to 132. And you said Lakefront is, oh, I don't have 225. But anyway, I thought that this thing was helpful.
It's really helpful. The only, as I see it, the only problem is that they did the fees up until 2024, and now we need the next set of fees.
You can let Patrick do that.
Yeah, I have, that table
'Cause
somewhere.
This is really nice.
That was sent out with the proposed fee.
Right, yeah.
What's a IAVMP?
It's your integrated vegetation, aquatic vegetation management plan.
It's right.
Really, you have to get together. Gosh. This is the Lake Management Committee. Don't you know that?
Yeah.
It was at the last meeting where I thought that it was the permit and Patrick says, no, that's plan.
Plan.
That's just your guiding document as to what.
Oh,
you-
it's like a concept of a plan.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
basically, what do you guys want to
Visualize.
manage your lake towards? What is your goals for managing a lake?
We paid a lot of money for
I bet you did.
All right.
And what I'm trying to find is there's actually a big table that I found when I was trying to find the budget. That has every single type of property
Oh,
and
good.
its assessment. And it's literally all the way out till 2035.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
And so I'm trying to find that.
I only thought there was these. I mean, what other kind of properties are there? There, you either have a lakefront or you don't.
Condos, water view, condos, no water view, condos access, condos, no access, well, it is
Oh,
So then
Yeah.
there's church and then there's.
Oh, you're right.
Oh.
industrial user.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good school.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some of them are just one of them.
You remember that?
Right, okay.
Document that I found when we were trying to find the budget that had all the assessment, rates? That, you know, one of Dan's thingies? You know where that was? Was that in our
I think it was in
budget?
admin, funds, finance, somewhere in there. There's so many. I can't even get to OneDrive from here though, so it's.
Oh, well, I have.
So was it in admin outside of Barnes Lake? Under projects?
No, I don't believe so.
So are we ready to move to budget or not yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm putting your work plan on hold, going to budget. So basically, this is an updated, there's plenty of copies in the middle. Sorry, Carissa, I didn't provide this for you. I can hold it up to the
It's okay.
screen though.
It's okay.
So, you know, the big thing is, you know, we never got assessed a fee last year from Doug. So we never got a report and we never got charged.
How much would that have been generally?
I don't have the previous years. I just have this.
18,000.
It's okay, in the neighborhood.
That ballpark, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we came in with, you know, a fairly decent sized balance going into this year of, you know, $33,000. So we've done the assessments this year. So far, we've received, you know, over $20,000 in assessments this year. So you have a fund balance right now of $64,810. But we haven't been charged yet. So.
What is the charge?
What does this mean then when you have, total revenue, fund balance? Where do you subtract? Oh, these are expenses, this is the revenue, that's where we're at.
That's correct.
Okay, got it.
What is the timeline on this, on that,
2024.
what's when would the report have to be submitted to, is there, I assume.
Well, he hasn't sent us a bill yet. I'm assuming that he'll write the report first and then send us the bill. Is that what you mean?
And January is typically when that comes.
Yeah, but like I said, he's probably doing this month and next month. I mean, he didn't finish spraying until almost Halloween.
Yeah, so this isn't closing out the year.
No,
Right.
because we haven't been
Yeah,
charged
understand.
anything
I
yet.
understand.
Yeah,
I
so,
like it that way.
right, so right now you guys are rich.
Hey, we can all go out to dinner.
Oh,
Right.
I have another question, what is the difference between budget, revised budget, and then how do you come up, what's this column? How come we have so much money in this column?
Well, the only difference is they did this transfer out of $80.
So that's the revised budget, I get that,
Right.
but what's this year-to-date actual, and you have 64?
So this is what has come in so far this year, but we've paid $163 for some professional service and the permit fee was $500. So that's what we
Oh,
we've
I
paid
get it.
out
So
this
this is
year.
what you're budgeting, this is what we actually have because we haven't paid what you budgeted for to pay Scott, got it, okay.
Yeah.
I have
and
to
so-
figure out how to read your
So when we get this professional services, it will be added over here.
Okay,
And then it would,
be subtracted from down here.
correct.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, the 163 was from water quality samples. We did a few of those earlier on, but that was it.
We're doing well financially.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if we do revise the contracts, you know, to include more spraying, how much that would.
Right,
increase
that
the
would be
cost.
something we'll have to find out.
I mean, you guys should, you know, yeah, we'll see how it all shakes out, but.
So next on our revised agenda is a discussion on the delineation of the neighborhoods, who is in which neighborhood.
yeah.
Or did you wanna do the work plan before the two add-ons, or did you?
Yeah, cause we skipped
We
his work
skipped your
plan.
work plan because you were not here.
Oh, that's right.
Or my work, it's my work plan?
Oh, look at there.
It has your name.
Jeez.
We can. We can
What am I
tag team
supposed to
this. Well, pretty much everything, since we're down to the end of the year, you know, either things got canceled or we checked them off the list. The still remaining outstanding things are mainly due to, for Scott. You know, we, update water quality summary report for 2024. Plans, these are stuff that Scott needs to kind of weigh in on, budget, and then Scott's gonna really determine our budgetary needs for 2025. We'll develop that 2025 work plan. We've kind of already been talking about that, like the newsletter and some of those other things. We're gonna about ready to do our meeting schedule, which is,
We just did that while you were gone.
oh,
Yeah.
I got
Great.
them written down for you.
Yeah.
perfect.
We got them.
Drafted operational budget, depending on Scott's input. We just did that one.
I
So-
nominate Linnea to be chair.
Second.
Yay.
Can we wait? Aye.
We'll call you, you can step out and take it, we'll vote while you're gone.
No, I'm not leaving the room with you.
You're allowed to get another phone call.
So we've, by and large, we completed everything except for these last two. Or I guess we just did the meeting schedule and then we need to elect the
I just
officers.
nominated.
So we've got the chair nominated,
I second
vice chair.
Tom Sparks.
Any
Yeah.
takers? One.
it.
No.
Recorder Dave.
Second. Did somebody say Tom?
You don't even know what you're seconding over there.
No, I don't. I just was- as long as they get to me.
Sounds like we're settled on that.
All in favor, right? Did we vote?
Yeah.
So,
I,
Aye.
There we go.
all right.
Thank you.
Cross that off the list.
Thank you.
But we do still have a November 13th meeting, so.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is
I was like, am I in the wrong month?
isn't that happening? It's about time to go.
Yeah, is it,
Are
are
you
you past my
trying to get us
bedtime?
to
I was, okay, yeah.
Never mind. Okay,
So the other issues are pushed.
and I have
Yeah.
another request.
7:40.
This, we haven't had an update in the contact information.
Oh. Well, just of us.
Yes, just, you know,
Does anyone have a
Yeah.
change?
yes.
Oh, thank you.
But we haven't updated.
Speaking of that, who do I email my home and
We're
pictures
missing
to?
enough people.
What do I want, what do we want?
Can you write his email down? And then you can take your pen back that I stole.
I can put it in the rest of that.
Oh, where did you get this?
Just send it to me.
Oh, okay.
Existing archive.
Dan used to do it,
This is from
the walking archive.
the desk of Kathy Peterson.
Oh, yeah, here's, oh, yeah, 2016, 2018.
But some of that information is stuff we don't want published on the
Right.
It's
public
just us.
stuff, right?
Right, this is for us.
What,
Okay.
the reason I'm saying that is because Lalani was just getting the word from Patrick that he got her information suppressed from the
Yeah.
public sites.
No,
And now
all
we
of
don't wanna
your
confuse that
information.
with
Yeah.
this list,
Right,
which has all that same information. We don't wanna
This is
get
for-
that posted
this is
to
the
the
journal.
public site.
No, I took all your emails off the website.
Right.
Good.
Okay, yeah, we can get this updated then. I don't know where this is stored on our files, but we can dig it out. Dan's folder. Dan's folder.
Okay.
We want- we want- we want to know
Because it's public access thing, right?
Yeah.
She wants
Kathy
that-
wants that back.
We want that back.
Do you wanna make it?
Do you want me to make a
Kathy
copy
wants
of it?
that back.
I'm sure we can, it's probably stashed somewhere. We've got it.
Is
We'll
there,
copy
yeah.
it.
Oh,
We're gonna make a copy of it.
There you go.
So back to the
That's why
neighborhood
he's in a position.
delineation.
Oh, yes, the neighborhoods.
Do we have, Kathy, you said you had a map?
No, Dave has.
Dave has a
I
map
had a map,
with polygons.
polygons and things, and I wish I could
A map of what?
pull
the
it up here.
neighborhood delineations,
Oh.
like who's
So we
east
know
and
what
west
You
or
mean
something?
for the steering.
And I think the issue was raised because of the possibility that Matt
Yeah.
Brownell would be, that we had, would become a member of the
That
steering
Linwood
committee,
was
and we
here.
had to figure out which neighborhood.
Well, and.
But he has a
Linwood
Lake
people were-
Park Drive address. right?
Yes,
Oh, it is.
it's
isn't
Lake
it?
Park Drive,
Let
yeah.
me see if I can pull it up. Gotta find it back.
Were
way.
there any other areas of confusion?
Well, Jody was not there either. Sorry.
Oh, that was part of her neighborhood.
Yes.
Is Jody dropping off?
No, she just went on an aisle, that's all.
She would just went what?
Oh, on her shoes,
on
down
the-
the.
Oh,
aisle.
down the Nile. He's in denial.
That's what Ellen said.
Okay, okay. Just a little bit. But where Matt is, then he would be a replacement for.
Judith.
Judith.
I think we just wanted to confirm that, right?
But he
Isn't
has.
that why we're talking about this at all?
Well, no,
Joe
part
asked.
of it was because when we were talking about the private, pay things, Kathy had asked board members to talk to the people in their neighborhood to see if there was any other private pay. So we need to know who's in our neighborhoods. That's part of what's driving this.
Okay.
Is if we're gonna represent our neighborhoods, we have to know who they are.
Yes. Neighborhood representation PDF?
Where?
You could do what I did when I moved in my neighborhood. I went to Geodata and printed out a map of my neighborhood and then looked them all up and wrote every single one of their names and phone numbers.
Really?
down.
Oh, my goodness.
Smart.
This is it. Oh, this is a little.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
What?
oh, okay, so the green
Oh,
is.
so the
lit-
DOT is mine.
I don't know if I can turn this or not, but you guys can kind of see, right?
Wait,
Who's
Rusty,
the
what are we, the
turquoise?
turquoise? I don't know exactly what I'm looking at on there.
No, no,
It's
we're not.
rotated.
Yeah. Oh, the condo?
So that's,
North is the
so this
right.
is DOT, this is the condos,
Oh,
so this is blue,
Lake Park
this
Drive
is
green.
where Linnea lives.
I see.
North is to the right.
Kathy lives down here.
We're red.
You're right.
So actually Matt's in the red.
Matt
This
is
is-
in the red. He's not a Lake.
Yeah, so
He's not like.
Kathy's in the yellow,
Wait.
it looks like,
Yeah.
unless you're in that teeny little bit of
Oh,
blue.
Matt's in the red?
Yeah,
Ron is right here, isn't he?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's yellow.
But it's Lake Park.
I'd have to go look
No,
over there.
he's in the red.
He's in the red.
He's-
Yeah.
This is Kane right
In the
here, right?
red.
Yeah, he's right next door to King.
I thought
That's
No,
it, that's
no,
it
no.
right there.
Who are we talking about?
That's Matt.
that's Matt,
Yeah.
Oh,
He's in
the
the
person
red.
who wants to be on the committee?
yeah.
There's
Okay.
Lake Park
So is
Drive.
he part
So
of
he's in the
Lakewood?
same group as you are in.
You'd be what?
He'd be a replacement for Judith.
No,
No,
Judith is
Judith's
green.
in green and Matt's in
Judith
the
is red.
red.
Is it the
Oh,
yellow
okay, we
side
got-
that is Lake Park Drive going
Oh.
along there, or is the blue?
Lake
Lake
Park
Park
Drive
Drive
is the green.
Green.
Is the green.
The
plus a little
green,
bit of the
okay.
red. Plus a little
Okay.
bit of the red.
Yeah, cause Rusty's
Okay.
in the green, right?
No,
I'm-
Rusty
no,
and
no,
myself
um,
are both in the red.
We got red covered.
Who was in the corner, maybe 2 houses over from you? Cause we walked through their yard in the walkabout. They live right at the,
Oh,
right at the
that
bottom
was
corner.
Matt.
Oh,
That was Matt.
that, no, no, no,
It wasn't
no.
Matt.
The most
It's
beautiful
like,
property.
it's like this
Somebody
property.
else,
Oh, yeah,
not,
Judith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
So this part right here is Lake Park Drive right here.
Yeah.
So this is difficult for you, I'm sure.
Well, I can see it from the screen, even though it's small, where Tom and Leilani are at. Back behind you
Right.
guys. That's what I'm looking at. I'm just visually seeing if it's when I see it this way on the map, like that, or
Oh,
exactly.
around. That's why I'm like, where's Lake Park Drive along here on that? So I can get visually the sense of, but yeah.
So basically, west is up on that map.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That
Oh, yeah,
turquoise
okay,
is the
gotcha.
school then.
That makes sense.
So you guys were to the left,
Yeah.
south was to the left in the
Okay.
dark blue.
Yeah, yes. That made sense.
That is on it.
Matt's red.
Is Jody red?
Jody was
No.
green.
No,
No,
Matt
Jody-
is.
so
you're
She's
red.
gone green.
You're red.
I'm
You guys
red.
are
She's-
This is the issue. If we don't
There you
change
go.
the map, then we already have two people representing red.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We already
Yeah,
have
and if
two
each
guys.
group only
Matt
gets two
can.
people, then you're correct, then it
Yeah.
would be full.
So Rusty and I are, we're in the red, Rusty.
We're in
I
the red.
wonder-
We're in the red.
I wonder if we should revise the neighborhood delineation, because I only represent 5 other, Judith and
I
I,
never knew that.
we're only representing 4 other properties.
Right.
So if you wanna do all of Lake Park Drive, that would include Matt and the Canes. If you wanted to do all of Lake Park Drive
Yeah.
here, that would be your, that would be the only revision we could do, and then we can get Matt in to represent.
Because,
Judith's.
and the logic being that those two properties, the address is Lake Park Drive.
Yeah. But they aren't on the lake. I mean, they're.
Could we just do that as a motion? Somebody move to add, or to transfer those 2 properties to representation by the west neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't see why that would be a major thing.
Yeah, I
You
think,
guys could probably.
So you're gonna make these
So what are we
two
gonna
green,
yes.
but not these two?
What they're talking about is they wanna make the green go all the way down here and capture, Mike Kane and Matt.
That way
Or
Matt
these
could be
three.
steering committee member and represent and take Judith's place in the green. So it'd be these 2 parcels here would be green.
So that then.
What about Bob, who, he always, I think his name's Bob, the one who keeps his lawn, it's like a
Oh, the
golf
lion?
course. It's, really, he always came to the things and,
I think Bob, I think Bob's passed on a long time ago, but Terry Lyons is there now.
okay.
But Bob was his dad or his.
Terry won't come up on this committee.
Oh, no.
No, I think we just make the west neighborhood, everyone with a Lake Park Drive.
Yeah.
Everyone who's not in the condos.
Yeah,
Has a
I
Lake
think-
Park Drive address.
I think that would really be helpful.
I think, yeah, you can just do that with motion and call it good. We'll
I'd
just.
like to move that, we include all the LMD members on Lake Park Drive.
Second.
Who are not in the condos.
Who are not in the condos, right?
Second.
So what? I don't understand. I mean, I understand what you're trying to do with just to make that one person, but why not include them in the yellow? It doesn't seem, it seems
Yeah.
weird to include it into the green. And you're changing your map to get somebody on the committee,
No.
which.
Right.
No.
Well, if you count
I
the number of
think
parcels
that's
in the
what we're
green,
doing.
if you count the number,
Cause the guy in the corner wants to be on it, so we're changing the map.
There are only
But-
6 parcels that are green right now, and they're all people on Lake Park Drive. So if we added the top northern 2 parcels that have
Right.
Lake Park Drive addresses
Yeah.
also into the green.
Oh, I see what you're saying, because they're not actually on this road, they're on this
They're on
road.
Lake Park
Exactly.
Drive.
I get you now. That makes sense.
What about those other 2 houses on the, on Lake Park
They're
Drive?
not in the LMD, they don't.
They're not on the water.
Oh.
These are, right, they're not.
Well, Matt doesn't have lake front, but he has lake view.
he has the easement and that access right down to that, our outfall there, but.
Cause that's where they told me I couldn't be on the committee when I lived there, cause
Oh,
I
really?
didn't have lake front.
Yeah, that access
you're-
is between
no, but you're-
you
you're
and
in the
Rosita,
LMC.
right?
I don't know, that's what they told me years ago until.
I mean, if you're, to me, if you're paying, you
Yes,
should be
yes.
able to be on the committee. I mean, I would include every single parcel that pays into this as a neighborhood, and they should be represented.
Yeah, where's our open seats? Do we have one open seat in the yellow? Or
Gary's
two
old
open?
spot.
Green,
Yes, we have one yellow and one
Green.
orange that were red that we want to make green.
no, right,
No, he's saying where are the vacancies?
Where are the vacancies?
the green.
The green has a
Vacancy in the
vacancy.
green and
And
the
we
vacancy in the
also have
yellow.
one in the yellow,
Oh,
because Doug.
So
I
yellow-
said
yellow and
Alfie
green.
Or Judy and Gary.
Now I see that the green only has one representative,
Currently.
Cause it's normally Judy would be there,
Judith.
Judith.
And you.
So that's modified for current, or isn't that the original map?
This is the
No.
original map.
So that's the original map.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
we're-
look at on the key on the right, you're saying?
Yes,
So the west neighborhood was only allotted one
and
representative.
all this time we had
Oh, I
two.
see.
The northwest neighborhood is only allotted one representative. And you have two.
Oh,
You guys are cheaters.
And the condos
wait, the
have
north.
I think we,
Changed it.
is there a date showing on
We're
this at all?
northwest.
Are we northwest?
Oh, I guess we
Yes.
are.
Ooh,
Yeah,
way
so
more
how many
houses
positions are
than,
on the committee?
the
10.
green people.
That's why the green people only get one.
Yeah, but Northwest only gets one and we have way more people.
Well, we don't have that many.
Compared to green, they only have 5 houses.
7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10.
Yeah.
Right, now,
that's
does
a-
that include, you said DOT is,
Blue.
over here?
Yeah.
No,
Down
DOT's,
there.
They're next to you in blue.
In the dark
Come
blue?
down.
Yep.
come down.
Yeah, so the DOT right here,
Right
this,
here.
so
Okay.
DOT doesn't have anybody that sits on this committee though.
Correct.
So that's why the condo gets all the 3 reps.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the most people.
and the
66.
turquoise, oh, the
Yeah.
is, okay, no, the school's in the yellow.
I mean, if we really wanted to make it fair, you'd have about 10 people.
But consideration was given at the time to kind of weight the number of members proportionally
No,
to
not
the
the
number
Right.
of parcels.
Turquoise.
And then at some
That's where
point,
I heard church.
That's why you said you've got 6 in the,
there's only 6 property
Green.
owners.
and so there's only about 10 in the red, right?
There's 10 in red, there's
Three,
like
four,
11 or
five,
12 in
six,
yellow,
seven,
there's
10, yeah.
like 7 in green.
That's what is, so like the yellow has 2 and they have 12 and the red has 1 and they have 10.
Right.
Great.
So I don't know that the way they divided it is necessarily equitable.
Tom, when you're saying DOT, you don't mean Department of Transportation, right?
Yes, they do.
Oh, you do?
We should
Okay.
Yes, the
Yeah.
business, because the church actually has a property too.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yes, the undeveloped area, yeah, okay.
Yep. So technically, they're still property owners. If they wanted to sit on the board, they could sit, or
And
on
they're
this
in the
committee, they
green,
could.
Right? They'd be in the
Right,
green.
that's what we were pointing out when we were doing the walk in
Yeah.
September around the edge of the church, right? Or
Right,
on the
and I
lake
don't know
area
that
has a
anyone's
tree.
reached out to Mr. DOT to see if they want to be a member.
I have reached out to them in the past.
Okay.
Because I thought it was mine. But in looking at this, we're realizing that the northwest neighborhood only has one allotted when there are 2 people, Lalani and Rusty. So we should, if we're gonna make the change to include all the Lake Park into one with 2 representatives, then we should add the second representative to the northwest neighborhood.
But you're proposing adding another representative to the west neighborhood as well.
The
You're
west
not doing that, I'm leaving.
and northwest. And see, I think also that would be good because it's really hard if there's a neighborhood that only has one representative and they're not here. So that would make it to where every neighborhood would have the opportunity to have 2
So, and then the
representatives.
church is in the green neighborhood.
They're
So-
across the street from the green neighborhood.
Well, there is,
Oh, they're still
there is,
property
They own the
owner.
trees.
yeah, 'cause they
Yeah.
own that, so,
Hey, they have an interest.
so they may wanna be on the committee.
So could I amend my motion before it turns 8 o'clock?
Oh, yeah, we gotta go at 8.
I'd like to, make a motion to include the last two, properties on Lake Park Drive into the west neighborhood from
Second.
the northwest neighborhood. And in addition, add a representative to that neighborhood, so there would be two.
To the north line.
In the north,
Area.
in the west, in the west.
The question is.
And the
is-
west, and the northwest as well? Bump both of those up to 2, and then move the 2 properties that are red into green?
Yes.
Did you have a?
Yeah, question, just, does the original charter specify the number of members on the committee? Does it say 9, or does it say as many as needed? I don't know.
Yes, we should.
I would,
probably-
I would assume that it probably does,
Does say
but I
9.
don't know.
Probably does.
I mean, is anybody gonna complain?
How about the revised charter underneath it?
Final?
Under,
Oh,
Yeah.
24.
oh, those are proposed. We don't know if they ever got adopted.
Those revisions.
Well, we don't want anybody to say that, well, since the breakdown is 1 member to the west neighborhood and you've been operating with 2, everything that we did with 2 members is invalid. We have to,
Right.
we don't want to go down that
Let's
path.
move on.
Yeah, yeah,
But the mayor gave me a pain.
there you go.
Revised 2011.
The mayor gave me
I got a
pain.
Christmas card, so.
Or we could say that no condo person can complain because we've had 3 spots with only 1 person filling for how many years? So the condo's got to.
All right.
No, but you get 3 votes.
Oh, yeah. You get to vote 3 times.
Yeah, that, right. Yeah.
11.
Okay, so,
No more than 11.
Oh, does it say that?
so here I've got it, Article 2. Is somebody saying?
Yeah, it's right there.
Check it out.
Okay, so we have 9 and we can have 11. So Kathy's motion was to bring us up to 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just recount.
Wait,
that.
let's recount to make sure, because was it 2, 4, 6,
Yeah.
8?
So this revised in 2011, each
Each
neighborhood has 2, except for the condos has 3.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
so,
so.
so there's the answer, Kathy, right there.
There's gotta be an odd person off, right?
Oh,
So we had,
so we were legal.
So we just had.
We just didn't need to do
The map.
So the-
motion.
So the motion is overcome by events because it's already been done.
Yeah.
But we do still
But
need
the
to
map has
change
to
the
change.
change.
The 2 properties.
Connects the 2 properties. Okay, so Kathy's motion.
Yes.
I
The
said,
revised
Is
motion.
amended to just move those 2 properties.
Move those 2
In the west, it already says Lake Park Drive, so you technically, you don't even need to do it. We just need to revise the map
picture.
to have them correctly positioned.
There we go. Wait,
You know,
Okay.
update your map.
All in favor?
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Aye.
Ready?
How do you make a straight line?
My breakfast is long far off. I need food.
you haven't eaten since breakfast.
No.
Girl,
Okay, we're back on the 29th.
you gotta go.
Hopefully.
Okay,
Okay, good.
so we have December to finish the work on these things, the operational. building. So one kind of discussion
When
point
do
that
I
was
need to
out there was that
submit
because we
my
have the extra money,
Porch.
Sometime, I think they said they wanted to get the,
extra funds. so we
that
have the
newsletter
option
out
to-
by March or.
Oh,
How about between now and January?
Right.
Carissa, I think we're done.
All right, guys, have a good night.
Thanks,
See you in
Carissa.
person in January.
Lindsay showed you that card, I thought, is she
Thank
trying to
you.
get her parking validated?
So for these.
As long as you don't write Paradise Lost, that might take you a while.
We don't have to blow it all next year just because we have it.
We go broke.
All
We
right.
go broke.
See you all in January.